Welcome to the Bucher and Friends podcast, co-starring 10-year NBA center Ryan Hollins.
Couple pump fakes, leans in, shot blocked by Ryan Hollins. Hollins sent that into the third row.
6 rebounds and 8 assists.
Hollins climbs the stairs.
Down the floor. Ryan Hollins! He is the high jumper!
That's what I want to see. Give me some gunpowder and throw the hammer down.
And now, here is your host,
Let's send it over to Ric Bucher.
Ric Bucher.
Welcome to another episode of Bucher and Hollins, subsidiary of Bucher and Friends, part of the United WeCast network. I'm Ric Bucher. You can see my stuff on Bleacher Report. You can find me on Twitter at Ric Bucher. He is Ryan Hollins. You can find him on ESPN. My understanding is on First Take next couple of mornings, so please check that out. Does Clippers broadcasts, does NBA radio, and you can follow him on Twitter at the Ryan Hollins and on Instagram at simply Ryan Hollins. And you can follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at Bucher Friends. All right, going into All-Star Weekend, I don't know. I got to be honest, Ryan. I always have mixed feelings. You know what I feel about the All-Star Weekend? I feel about All-Star Weekend the same way as I do about going to Las Vegas. The idea of All-Star Weekend, like Las Vegas, is much better than the reality of All-Star Weekend or Las Vegas. I love the idea of going to see people, the events and whatnot, and then it just becomes, you can't really see anybody or get anything done because there's a million people there going in a million different directions with different meetings and schedules and whatnot, and it just never, I get to Monday, I get to the end of it, and I'm exhausted, and I think, okay, what did I really accomplish here? Not a whole lot. So I don't know how you feel, but that's how I feel.
So my first, I would say 4, maybe 5 years in the league, I went to All-Star Weekend every weekend.
Okay.
Because as like a college kid, I always felt like I was missing out.
Sure.
I was missing out.
Sure.
I didn't get to go to All-Star Week. I didn't get to. You know what? I just got tired of it, and I didn't really realize, because I was a player rep, so I'd always go. I'm like, All-Star Weekend break? What do you mean break? You don't get a break during the season. As a college, high school kid, like there's a break during the season.
Yeah.
Then about 5 or 6 years, I realized like, oh, you go on vacation because we're here a lot. But I was just like, that was what you do. You just go to work and that's it. You get a break.
So other than going as a player rep, and I love how it's always low guy on the totem pole, the new guy on the block is the player rep, as if the new guy on the team is going to understand all the ins and outs.
And they're like, raise your hand if you're going to be a player rep. Because they pay your way, hotel, all that.
Yeah.
As a fan, that'd be amazing. But as a player, and I'm like, hey, player rep right here, baby. They're like nobody else's hands. I guess they're probably snickering at it. Hey, the Rook wants to go to the All-Star game. Have at it.
Oh, that's good. So did you raise your hand largely because you knew that you were going to get a free ticket to the All-Star Weekend?
I thought I had competition, bro. I'm like, hey, well, let me go. I'm in.
So good.
Somebody let Hollins go.
What did you do? I mean, rate the parties that you went to. Because here's the other thing, too, is you hear about parties, and you hear even the Players Union party, back in the day. I stopped going a while ago, but it used to be this was it. They had the stars of stars or whatever. But it was so jam-packed. It wasn't everything that it was made out to be. And I know I'm probably, for the average fan, they're thinking, man, you're spoiled, dude. You're talking about being able to go to the Players Union party or see Snoop Dogg, live, falling out of his limo at like 2 a.m. and coming out and then performing. But I guess it's just a matter of the buildup. Again, it's like Las Vegas. The idea of Las Vegas, I always get excited, and then I land, and I'm like, oh, man, I'm in Las Vegas. So for you, how was it? I mean, maybe it's a little bit different for a player. Maybe you've got access to certain things that I didn't have access to.
So here's a perk. I'll be honest here. When I walk around, I'm an all-star too. There's no other NBA players but the all-stars. So
yeah.
in everybody else's mind, I'm an all-star, okay?
Right.
I'm in the skills challenge. I'm in the dunk contest. I'm in the game. I'm in the game. I mean,
Right.
honestly, like the same perks,
Yeah.
you know. But outside of that, you said it's funny. You said parties. I couldn't stand it, man. It's just a lot of walking around, a lot of lounges, a lot of suites. You know, all these companies go, hey, we want to get players over to our
Yes.
thing, and then they give you like a T-shirt and a keychain and like some pamphlets, and it's like, I don't want that.
Yeah.
The one coolest thing I did get, I went to a PlayStation suite, and they gave me an embroidered, not embroidered, what am I talking about? But like a personalized, customized PlayStation.
Nice.
That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And I got some customized Air Force Ones at the time in my size just by being there. So there are some places that get some good perks.
Yeah. Yeah, and I've seen a couple of them. Some of the parties or some of the brands will have a bunch of swag, but I saw the players walking out with big bags of whatever. I was not privy to that free shopping expedition.
You didn't get the Xbox and the PlayStation?
No, I didn't get a customized Xbox. I didn't. I want to say, well, here's the other thing too. I mean, there was a time where, like, I had a full, both All-Star and NBA Finals. I had all my luggage was from the NBA because you get a bag, you get a jacket or a sweatshirt, you got a lot of gear. Now it's the same thing. You get like a keychain. You might get a backpack, but it's one of those backpacks that's really, you can't carry anything in it. The dynamics have changed, and probably because the media has, when you got, I don't know, 20,000 media, it seems, rather than 200, it probably changes what the NBA is willing to spend on that. Enough griping about what the NBA All-Star Weekend is and it isn't. You're going, I'm going. We're going to try to do a live podcast, at least one from there, so that should be fun. But I do want to get to the, number one, the Lakers drama going into the All-Star break. And this timing, I don't know about you, Ryan, but this feels really bad for a time for the Lakers to be cratering. We felt like that win against Boston was, they got past the All-Star break. Everybody's feeling good. It's kumbaya. All is forgiven. And then they get drummed by Philadelphia. And then they get drummed by the Atlanta Hawks. Maybe not drummed, but certainly beaten. And now the Boston Celtics game looks like the blip on the screen. But the second half of the Boston Celtics game, since they were getting run in the first half of that one as well, looks like it was more Boston than it was the Lakers. So you've been a little more pro Lakers than I have. So I'm just wondering, how do you view what you're seeing from the Lakers right now? How concerned are you?
It's bad, Rick. We're not going to sugarcoat that these young guys still haven't learned consistency, because that's what it is. It's not that they're not talented. They're just not consistent. They don't understand how to put together back-to-back games. And then what ends up happening is LeBron goes, and you scrutinize LeBron because he goes, okay, I don't trust you guys. I'm good enough to go win a game by myself. And he goes out and wins the game by himself.
Here's the thing, and this was brought up to me by Doug Gottlieb. Did a hit on his show, on his Fox show, and I hadn't really thought about it, but is it time to start examining whether LeBron has the requisite energy and ability at this stage to drag this team into the playoffs?
No, not at all.
You still
Not
think
at all.
that he can?
Yeah, we've seen it before. We've seen it last year.
It doesn't mean we're going to see it again. We've seen it
last
before,
year
no
in
doubt.
Cleveland. We've seen it all the way to the finals. Maybe it won't be to the finals this year if they don't get some help. They don't test this buyout market. Like, the Lakers need to make a splash on the buyout market. A name that comes to mind is the Morris twin. I'm forgetting which one it is, but
Yeah. Markieff is the one that's available.
Markieff, right? Okay,
Yeah.
okay. They could use some toughness and some shooting, and what's interesting to me in free agency, because of Clutch Sports, they might end up with both Morris twins. And that may not be the worst thing.
I'm glad that you pointed. Well, see, so this is what I know from Lakersville is that, and I think we talked about it previously, that things aren't great between Clutch and the Lakers. Now, my understanding is that there's been some communication and the relationship has been repaired, or at least there's been some conversation to try to mend the fences. But there's still a concern on the Lakers' part of having too many clutch clients on the Lakers roster. So I hear you, and I'm a big fan of the Morris twins. And certainly I think Markieff could help somebody as a playoff team, certainly. I'm kind of surprised. Well, not really, because the Wizards are basically just tanking at this point. To me, they're money-wise, they're trying to get bad. And I understand why. But I really think Markieff could help somebody, and I would not have a problem with Marcus and Markieff playing together again. Now, things didn't end well in Phoenix, but I think a good part of that was the fact that they were promised that they were going to be together. And then the issues began really when it became clear that they were looking to move Marcus. And indeed they did, sending him to Detroit. But I like them both as players. I'm really impressed with what Marcus has done as far as has improved his 3-point shooting. I mean, he's over 40%. He's made a huge leap in that department. By the way, since we're on the subject, we're talking about troubled teams. Where are you on the Boston Celtics at this point? They go back and forth, man. Like, just when you think, oh, this thing's poisoned, and they have that loss to the Lakers, then they turn around and Gordon Hayward has a performance, and they beat Philadelphia, and I've said it from the beginning. I think the next champion's coming out of the East. I put my money on the Boston Celtics being that team. There are days where I still feel really good about that. There are days where I wonder whether they are going to be their own worst enemy. But as of right now, I'm still of the mind that they have the requisite ability to pull this thing together and win it all.
Yeah, I mean, I can't necessarily rule that out, and there's still my pick, but and obviously you saw the flash on them being Philly, without Kyrie, but somehow this has to fit. They have to fit, whether it be Kyrie's fault, whether it be the young guy's fault for taking different shots, or wherever it may be, it's got to fit. And you talk about Rick, we're going to talk about having problems. Those are rich people problems, okay? Those are problems that aren't really problems. I got to figure out how to make Kyrie Irving fit with my good young nucleus and team, and potentially come out the East. So it's not something that I'm going to lose my mind. You're not going to lose sleep over. Brad Stevens, he's probably losing sleep, but Danny Ainge is like, dude, I give you a great problem to have. Now go get it done, okay?
Yeah. Well, so I think you've said it to me before. You like the Atlanta Hawks. You think they're for real. And for real, I mean, they're going to be really. I think they're going to be really good. Yeah. I like the way they play. They can sneak up on you any given night. All their guys shoot threes, and Trae Young is getting better at using the pick and roll. And I think you talked about this before, but dude, John Collins is knocking down threes, and the guy's a stud. He just plays within himself. So there's some pieces over there that I look at the Atlanta team and say, man, I kind of like it, man. I kind of like him. I got a chance to talk to Trae Young and talk to his dad, and he's a good kid, man. He's going to develop in the right place. What the thing I like, Rick, for a guy that huge of a rookie and all the expectations is he knows one thing his dad really expresses. He knows his mistakes, and he knows that he has to get better. He's not kind of buying into the hype, just jacking up threes going, oh, man, I'm the next Steph. He's like, no, I got to work, bro. I got to work. And that's what leads some help, with the Hawks, Rick. I mean, I don't know what you've seen, but, what are you thinking about his development so far? Well, it's look, he's gotten better, and I appreciate that. The Steph Curry comparisons are way overblown, and the fact that he embraced that, I kind of go back and forth. I always like a guy who's got confidence, but you know what? Don't take yourself there. You're going to lose that battle. There's only one Steph Curry. You could be a very fine player, but you're going to lose if we're comparing. We're determining whether you're successful or not based on how close you come to being Steph Curry. I have a problem with the nickname Ice Trae, whether he gave it to himself or somebody gave it to him.
Really?
It's like it's D'Angelo Russell, ice in my veins with the Lakers. Dude, you have a losing record. Don't start telling me about how clutch you are.
Are we sure that that's who gave it to him?
I don't know who gave it to him, but it's being bandied about. And I know that, like Steph, in his heyday, like just a couple years ago, there were a couple of nicknames that they, like the Human Torch or whatever, and he was like, yeah, not really feeling that. But, and so you have the wherewithal that, KD, I think, didn't like Durantula or the Grim Reaper or whatever it might have been. You can look if you're not feeling a nickname or you feel it's a little before your time to have a certain nickname, you can put the kibosh on it, and people will respect that. And I don't get the sense that Trae is doing that, but he's young. And here's the other part: he's always going to be compared to Luka Doncic, and not favorably as of right now. He's got a long way to go before he outlives that trade. And I know he's not at fault for having that done. But, dude, just keep your head down and keep getting better. Like, I don't need to hear from Trae Young about he's all that just quite yet. Time seems a little premature for me. Now, in association with that, like I like the fact that the Hawks have said, okay, we're taking the training wheels off. We're going to trade Jeremy Lin. We're going to buy Jeremy Lin out, and he's signed with the Raptors. How do you feel about the Raptors with Fred VanVleet having ligament surgery and out on his hand, I think his thumb, and they run right out there and they sign a Jeremy Lin? How do you feel about that trade-off?
I think they've done a good job. It was a team that I looked at last year, similar to Portland. We talked about just signing Enes Kanter today.
Yeah.
But they were stagnant. They were very stagnant. And it was getting to a time where how much longer is this going to last? And you see them making moves for Gasol. You see they made a move for Kawhi. Somehow they kept OG and Pascal on the team still. VanVleet will be back. Jeremy Lin comes in as a loner for the rest of the season. So I like that they've been aggressive, And one thing that's tough, if you're a Portland, if you're Toronto, the best thing you can do is sign your guys, and they end up strapped under the cap, and there wasn't a lot of moves, if any moves, that they could make. That's what happened with Cleveland, why LeBron essentially kind of had to go, because you got to pay your guys, and you can't afford them to go once you have a good year. Yeah. And then after, if this thing starts to not work out come playoff time, you got to let these guys go. You end up holding on to them, but even though you want to let them go, there's not much you can do. Like just getting off Valanciunas' contract was a big one. So I actually like what Toronto's doing, Rick, by just saying, hey, like we can't sit back anymore. Like it's time.
Yeah. Well, and it is. I mean, look, number one, LeBron's not in the East, and two, it's wide open. It is wide open. If you're Toronto, you're never going to have a better opportunity in my mind than right now to find yourself in the
finals. If Kawhi comes back? Even if Kawhi comes back and you got Pascal a year later.
Well, yeah, okay, so, but as of right now, I don't know that you're going to get Kawhi back, and making the finals will have a lot to do with getting Kawhi back. So that's only one more reason why you go for it right now, right? Because to me, that's the most convincing argument that you can make to Kawhi is, one, we might be in Toronto, but dude, we're looking to own the East, and you can do what LeBron did for the last 7 years. You can write your ticket and say, well, you know what, I'm winning the finals every year, and I'm going to have a shot at winning some more rings. I mean, that's going to be the most, and we're willing to help you help make that happen for you. Speaking of Kanter going to the Blazers. How much do you think he changes? What does he do for him? How much of a difference? I think right now they're third in the Western Conference, fourth. I take that back, fourth. It's Golden State, Denver, Oklahoma City, and Portland. Does his presence change anything? Move the needle? Change the power structure of the Western Conference?
Well, they got deeper. Yeah. I'm not gonna lose their mind, but they get deeper, and that's about it. I don't think that this wows me or they push you over the top with that signing, but they're deeper. They're a little tougher, a little meat to their front line, and somebody who can play in the playoffs. So and I don't say not that can play. I mean like a guy who you can put on the floor and is going to get you some production. So does it wow me? No, he's still he kind of doesn't compliment Nurkic because they're simple, and Nurkic is actually bigger and a better defender.
Mm-hmm. And a better playmaker for others.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think Enes is basically just a scorer off the bench. I wasn't happy with the way he handled his run in New York.
No, I feel off the bench, that's good. It's good off the bench.
Yeah. But recognize that that's what you are. Like on a good team, you're a guy who comes off the bench and you could have you could stick around for a while. When you start doing all kind of the histrionics, you got a young team. The Knicks were looking to him to be a vet. Courtney Lee wasn't getting any run in New York. You didn't hear him complaining. And could he have? Could they have desperately used some perimeter scoring or shooting? Hell yeah. But you didn't have Courtney making a fuss. And now Courtney gets to, when he ends up with a Dallas team, we'll see ultimately where that goes. But like, there's just certain situations where I feel like Enes got some love because he took on LeBron at one point, and he's challenged guys on social media, and he's been out there, and Madison Square Garden people love that. The New Yorkers love that, but dude, be realistic. Like they weren't going to play you a lot because that's not what this season is about for the Knicks. Like taking care of you. So I just thought he got a little lost in the sauce when it comes to who he is and who he was playing for, and I wonder how that's going to ultimately play in Portland. All right, a couple things I want to get to before we wrap up. So, investigation into Ben Simmons and Magic Johnson and tampering by the NBA. Nothing was found. Same as the tampering investigation when it came to the Lakers and Anthony Davis, although Rich Paul, his agent, did get fined $50,000. Look, Ryan, all these conversations go on all the time. All the time. It feels to me like the NBA is putting itself in the position of the NCAA and trying to legislate things that they can't possibly control. Like what high school players are doing before they enter before they actually matriculate at a college. How do you feel about tampering, and how prevalent? Like I know there's conversations that are going on all the time. The business of the NBA couldn't work without it. Is there a line that you would draw when it comes to these backroom conversations?
Well, listen, let me just make it as simple as this. You can't do it in public. You can do it, but it just doesn't need to happen in public. Because there's nothing, like you said, it sounds like the NCAA, there's nothing that you can do to stop it.
Yeah.
Players tamper with other players. Coaches tamper with players. Front office members tamper with players. Hey, I like you. Hey, what's your deal looking like? Agents tamper. They already these guys are already clicked up. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You don't think Rich Paul has already commanded, hey, we want to go here, we want to go, like, they're already talking and making plans and strategy. So, like, as far as, dude, I remember playing against New Orleans, and Byron Scott be like, yo, we need you. We like what you do. We could use you. What's your deal like? Chris Paul, hey, what's up? Rasul Butler, hey, man, we could use you, man. You fit in what we do. Dang, you're one of it. Like, we like what you do. I remember Doc would always, when he's crazy, before I played for Doc, he was always looking at me like, man, what's going on, man? He'd give you that look like, hey, what's up? Like, hey, I like what you do. He does it all the time. Like, so for me, you got to understand it's just a public thing because you don't want to. What you can do if you're an entity like a LeBron or a Magic, you can ruin another team because now they got to answer to you saying how good of a player that your guy is. And even though that's enticing, the guy may think twice about going over there. It's just, you just mix. It's unneeded drama. Keep that stuff in house. That's where the problem comes in lie. It's a lie when it talks about tampering.
Okay, so, but then, like, why the investigation? If somebody says something publicly and you have proof of them saying something publicly, then ding them. Just ding them. Fine them. Do whatever. Punish them. If you're going to go into, well, was there really a conversation behind the scenes and who started it and all that? It's like, yeah. I mean, just go to July 1 when guys are signed at 12:01. You think that they made that deal within the 60 seconds? You don't think there was extensive conversation during a time that supposedly you're not allowed to have conversations? No. Those deals don't get made in a heartbeat. The league would not function if you didn't allow what is considered technically tampering. So that's where I think that it's just a little bogus by the league we're investigating it as if, look, you don't really care that people are having these conversations. You know these conversations going on. You're doing it for appearance's sake. And we all know that. Just like the NCAA does it for appearance's sake. And my problem is like, okay, you're going to ding this team or this team, but the reality is you're getting what? You're dinging 2 out of, everybody's doing it. So what's the point? Even honestly, what's gained or lost if it becomes public?
You can't come public, bro. You can't just be saying stuff out in the media like that, Rick. Like you can't.
Do you think it has an effect? Do you really think it has an effect?
It has an effect on the fans, and it has an effect on the player. And you got to answer questions that you didn't feel like. I thought LeBron just threw out some little, knowing that he was going to see the Warriors, and I thought he kind of leaked that like, hey, LeBron might join the Warriors, or either way, it's a game behind the game, bro, and you kind of don't do that. And you just ask your guy Kevin Durant. He's getting ate up right now with free agency rumors, and then let alone some tampering stuff. So it's an easy way to destroy a season, And if a guy's gonna leave, let him leave. You got to have respect for the fans and the organization. You know what I'm saying? And how I can't think of a better word other than pissy. I don't know if that's some consider that a foul word. I don't think we'll lose our clean rating over that one. So I think you can. I get nervous. You do ESPN. Like you can't say pissed off on air.
Really?
Yeah, pissed off is not a good word. So I try to keep those words out of my vocabulary.
I'm pretty sure I've used that. I used that during my 14 years at ESPN.
I don't know. Did certain words they say no, stay away from it. I said okay, Disney. Okay, Disney, don't worry. Hey, I'm clean enough as is, but I thought that was a normal one.
Yeah.
Either way, you can really irritate a fan base, man. And it isn't about the fans. And, there's still a strong notion, Rick. Look, there's one Knicks, there's one Golden State, there's one L.A. You know what I'm saying? There's one New York. So there's one Chicago. So when I'm in San Antonio, darn it, I want to feel like I got a clean chance at signing an all-star to my team. If I'm Charlotte, I want to feel like I have a clean chance of keeping Kemba Walker, okay? So it becomes an issue, Rick. There's more people than just in Golden State. I know you're in the lap of luxury over there with you and KD and Steph and all that, but there's other people. The majority of people are in small markets.
Yeah, no, I get that, but I don't want to feed that delusion like they have a chance. They don't have a chance. You don't have a chance.
Respect, bro.
Charlotte,
respect, bro.
Orlando.
It's
no
respect,
shot.
Bro.
You got no shot.
No, I hear you. I'm just saying it's respect. That's all, Rick.
Yeah. The truth of the matter is that the NBA does not work the way football does. The NBA is better when there are great teams, when there's a great team that everybody's gunning for, that there are great teams in the bigger markets. And it doesn't matter that if every team has a legitimate shot at winning a championship.
You can't lose 90% of your fans, Rick.
Yes, you can.
Oh, all right.
Yes,
Go tell one of these sponsors that.
Yeah, no.
Hey, sponsors, we only want to be heard in L.A., Golden State, and hey, Bucher and friends, our fans in Ohio, our fans in Orlando, our fans in Milwaukee. We are with y'all,
No,
okay?
Here's the thing. What else is there to do in Orlando or Charlotte? People are still going to support. Locally, they're still going to support those teams as much as they would. They don't have to play for a championship. Yeah, making the playoffs would be nice. That kind of bumps things up. But as far as the health of the league overall, we don't need Orlando in the finals. We don't need them in the playoffs. We don't need Charlotte in the playoffs. Every once in a while, you get a Detroit in there, or you have, Portland rise up, but being competitive, making the playoffs every now and then leave the championship stuff. Actually,
the sting that you have when you lose your star, that's a real sting, bro.
I get
You
that.
watched the decision with LeBron. You watched how Indiana felt. You watched how even Utah felt. There's a sting, bro. Why would you rub that in, Rick? You know how personal it is for these teams.
But
for these fans.
I think so
Teams
much of
and
it
fans.
is how it's handled. Like Paul George alerted him, hey, and he kind of did it. And I've always dreamed of being a Laker, but he made it clear he didn't want to stay.
We're not talking about that though, Rick. We're not talking about that. We're talking about Magic Johnson saying, hey, I want Paul George. And then Paul George saying, oh, yeah, I want to go play with Magic because he's cool.
Yeah.
That's the word.
But then he didn't end up there.
Regardless, though, Rick. Regardless. There's a lot of people in Indiana going, damn, he could just say that?
Yeah. I feel like he should be able to just say that. Because ultimately, here's the thing. This is my thing, and it's not against small markets or whether a guy stays or goes. But I just question how much Magic Johnson publicly saying he'd like to have Paul George changes the dynamic. It's not as if Paul George doesn't already know that, hasn't already heard that from Magic or from his agent.
It doesn't need to be public. They can talk every night. They can pillow talk all night.
Yeah.
But the public doesn't need to hear that.
Yeah. I guess I trust the public or if the public doesn't realize that this stuff goes on, then they should, and that making them aware of it. I'm all for transparency. I'm all for people knowing more, not less. That's kind of the way I roll. Last thing. So, and this is kind of in conjunction with tampering, which is tanking, which is another one of those things where everybody's like, oh, the Knicks have lost 17 in a row. What are we going to do? Orlando, the Pelicans obviously are tanking. Washington, just giving away players in order to lose. Oh, God forbid that we do this. Again, the NBA has been healthier than it's ever been. I get that maybe you don't talk about tanking. We're purposely trying to lose. But the truth of the matter is, again, that's how the league works. It hasn't negatively impacted the bottom line for the league. So I just can't get all that hot and bothered about teams that tank.
I hate it personally, but I understand it. It's just kind of a broken system.
Well, but is it? Because honestly, I don't even think it works. Now, for any one given season,
that's how sloppy. Watch how sloppily Philadelphia's gone about it. They ruined 60%, 60 to 70% of their draft picks, and then finally 2 of them work out, and they're like, all right, it's time.
Yeah. See, this is what's difficult with Sixers fans is I think most Sixers fans are smart enough to know that they got sold a raw deal. But there's a very vocal part of Sixers fans who to this day will say, oh, trust the process. It worked. The process worked. I'm like, this thing didn't start working until you abandoned the process. And you abandoned the process after 4 years. And at the end of all of this, you have a team that I still look at and go, how are you getting out of the second round? Are you guaranteed getting out of the second round? Because before the process started, what did you have? You had a team that had a losing record. I'll give you that. But they were a second-round playoff team in the Eastern Conference.
Second-round playoff team. Yeah.
So and this is not even I just saw Sam Hinkie the other day, spent some time with him. Big fan of Sam Hinkie. I like guys who think outside of the box. But don't try to tell me that the process was some genius move that worked. You lost for 4 years. And it wasn't until you started signing free agents like J.J. Redick and you started making deals that you had a team that guys would be interested in playing for, like Bellinelli and Ilyasova. If those guys don't join the team last year, I'm not even sure you're making it out of the first round.
No, they weren't.
So for all that Ben Simmons is, and all that Joel Embiid is, and I'm a big Joel Embiid fan, all that losing is not what built a winning team or a winning program. It's not. You look at the Pacers. Did the Pacers tank? No. I like where they are. Yeah, you took an unfortunate loss with Victor Oladipo getting hurt, but You don't have to lose for 4 years to put together a nucleus that makes you competitive in a year in and year out. And if you were telling me we lost for 4 years, but we built a team that's going to win a championship, I'd say, okay, maybe. But I don't see a 76ers team that's guaranteed to win a championship anytime soon. Do you?
No, I don't think it's a guarantee.
I mean, they're good. And they should be good for a while, but
I don't like the way they do it. I don't mind if saying, hey, giving your young guys a spin, but I just didn't like the way they do it. I didn't like the way they do it. I think the real blowback was not just teaching your guys losing, but like when Jahlil Okafor got in that fight, and I can only imagine what their locker room was looking like.
Yeah.
The couple guys that were there, but there's some ugly moments within that deal. It wasn't right. And it's almost like, well, I can cheat the system and make a lot of money. Let's invest in some penny stocks. We can figure it out. We can work the system, but then ultimately there's just the integrity behind it, which is really questioned.
Thank you so much for using that word. It is the integrity behind it. I do wish that Sam had been given like maybe one more year. Would Sam have turned the corner? Would Sam have done what Colangelo and Elton Brand have done now, which is, you deconstructed it. You did the demolition. Was Sam was Sam capable of doing the build? Like, could he have convinced? Because once you get that reputation,
easy part. Go spend some money. I think that's the easy part, bro. Go spend some money. Yeah, that's the easy part.
But I wonder whether it's just like you have to convince people that it's that you're on a winning track and you know how to put a winning team together rather than just spend money. Anyway, we can continue that conversation. That is it for this episode. As I said, the next podcast, Ryan and I will be together again, but we will literally be together in Charlotte doing that podcast. So certainly look forward to that. We'll give you sort of the ins and outs of what we're seeing in Charlotte on the All-Star front. Keep in mind, we're just Sixers fans. For any of those that may accidentally be listening, we have a swag bag that includes a Trust Ye Process t-shirt of Game of Zone's character Joel Embiid, along with some Bleacher Report socks, Game of Zone's hat. All you have to do is rate this show on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts. Screenshot that rating, which is literally just punching stars, however many you want to give us. Send us a screenshot of that, and you'll be eligible to win that little swag bag. Also, go to bucherandfriends.com. There's a link to a survey. Please do this for us. It takes a minute or two to fill the survey. We just want to know who's listening, and if you do that, you'll be eligible to win a $50 gift certificate or gift card to Amazon. All right. For Ryan, for myself, next time we'll be talking to you or you'll be hearing from us will be from Charlotte. Thanks for listening.